usual, but this is the TI4 qualifiers, day 2 for the Americas, presented by Monster. My name is Span. Joining me is Cinderin, Basekip, and Gods. We don't have too much time because we had some technical difficulties, as we'll talk about in a second. Can we quickly talk about day 1, which no big surprises. Murano was picked pretty much every single game. I think it's like a 74% win rate or something like that. So, Cinderin, what are your thoughts?
Oh, Mirana's been kind of in 681 and even in 680. I think the highest win rate here in both versions.
680 was like top 3 or 4.
Top 3, okay,
but it's so many games played.
Yeah, but it's top 1 by far at this point.
Up there for heroes that weren't considered overpowered.
I think it's like several percent ahead of number 2, right? Like really high. Mirana's like 60, so no big surprise it gets picked a lot. A little bit surprised that it has a 74% win rate, but let's see when we get a little bit further in the qualifiers, of course.
True.
But yeah, like you mentioned, the stream is starting a little bit late today, guys. We had a sound issue with Dota TV that we worked on resolving, and I think a solution was found, so it is going to work. That's really good. So just to let you guys know that we won't be starting this late on the next days. We plan to start about 30 minutes to an hour in advance with a little bit of warm up and a little bit of talk. But
we say that now, but BTS equals beyond the schedule.
Behind the schedule,
every
always.
Time.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, the first game of the day is going to be NAR versus SNA. You guys will be casting that. Do you have any sort of expectations for that? I mean, NAR obviously did really well yesterday.
Yeah, NAR are looking like the team to beat. I think for SNA, they're currently look on the road to the playoffs here, but they'd love to get a win against NAR. Like, even if it means NAR still probably end up first or second, for SNA it just helps them out and gives them like a sigh of relief that they're going to make it top 2. But I think NAR are pretty heavy favorites.
The thing for SNA is that they've already lost to Liquid and Revenge. So two teams that other people have been placing in the top 4. So if they drop this game to NAR and somebody beats all the teams that they beat and then takes one game off one of those top 3, then that could bump SNA out of playoff contention. So this is actually a really important game.
Are those Mott notes by any chance?
These are some Mott notes. My version of Mott notes.
I have them here.
These are very European
Both teams are playing well.
I feel like he's doing like the European style notes, like a small little notebook, small little handwriting, very European.
I mean, if you need any notes from Mott, his notes were on the SNA game, so you can use these if you want.
Yeah. Okay, what do we got?
Mike is feeding. Both teams are playing well. We'll see if that's
Both teams are playing well in all capitals.
Yeah,
so it must have been an important.
They must have been playing really evenly well or really well.
Yeah.
I think it was Liquid. The Revenge SNA game. Oh no, was that SNA?
This is
SNA Revenge. That was the best game from yesterday.
Yeah,
if you guys watched any games from yesterday, if you missed it, watch SNA vs Revenge. Mike, I talked to him in the lobby. I said we'll have some more Malt notes, and he said, "Look, I'll help you guys out. I'll feed again, and that way you can just sit back and not write any new notes.
Just use the same notes.
Yeah, use the same notes. So he's like, we're just gonna fit into the exact same notes. So.
Well, to be fair though, that game, like feeding is like I know a lot about feeding, so just ask me if you have any questions.
Yeah.
But he was just the victim. Honestly, it's not like he played poorly. He just got ganked by 3 or 4 people 4 times in a row in that game.
It's just like any of us in pubs.
Really set up. Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah. It's a great example, I know.
That was a game that I feel like it came down to his team whether they lost or not. Like the Ursa got all the farm in the world. Someone who was mid, I can't remember what hero, got all the farm in the world.
Morphling.
Morphling, yeah, that's right. They had Morphling Ursa who were both like free farming away. So Mike in the end did his role, but
So overall for the rest of the day, do you guys have any upsets? Because we're not gonna have too much time to talk about it.
I think no upsets.
No
I
upsets
think
at all?
top 4 is as we predicted: SNA, NAR, Liquid, and Revenge. Well, I think a few people maybe didn't put Revenge.
What about this match coming up?
I think NAR should take it, like 75% even.
Wow. I think do we have time to bring on the standings for a moment, because it's actually kind of an interesting situation we have with I think it's top 5 that we were pretty surprised by how good actually how well they were doing yesterday. I think they're 4-1, and give stats.
Give standings.
TNB did pretty well as well yesterday.
We're gonna go fast before the draft starts.
Yeah. The draft is about
otherwise our overlays crash and burn.
Here we go. Stats. Awesome. So yeah, here we go. NA Rejects yesterday undefeated. The only game Liquid lost was to them, so as expected. But top 5 is 4-1. They lost to CNB only.
Yep.
So they still have they still have the hard matches ahead of them. But
yes. That's the thing. Like they're 4-1, it sounds great, but if they were 5-0, it'd be better because they still went versus any of those big 4 teams we're talking about. So that 4-1 could quickly become 4-5.
But just feeds into what Basekip was saying, right? That with that score, if they beat the same teams as SNA did, and they beat SNA, then suddenly SNA might not even be top 4. So I think top 5 might be a team to watch out for. It's a best-of-1 format, so if they take one game, that could actually knock down SNA, which I think a lot of people would be surprised by.
Yeah, they have to beat one of those big 4 teams. And I think against Revenge and SNA especially, those are the 2 most beatable of those 4.
Yeah.
So, like you say, best-of-1 format, anything can happen. I don't think anything will happen.
Are you staying in the Liquid train today, Gods? Is it still
Yeah.
undefeated for Liquid all the
Well,
way through? No,
that's already been broken.
not anymore.
Look, they'll win out
Undefeated today?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I think
They have an
Liquid.
easier schedule today.
Yeah.
So we're gonna
They've-
say
They've beaten all the top.
NAR 0 losses and Liquid 1, which is
Yes.
against NAR. That's what we're guessing. Okay.
I think Revenge are less stable. They may actually drop a game here or there, but I think they'll
Yeah.
still get top 4 even if they drop another game.
You guys ready? You
Yeah.
ready to do the pick draft? It's my favorite part of the game, so I don't know how you guys.
I
feel
don't
about it.
mind. Like I'm easy creasy.
Gods-
Suns fan
Gods will
tunes
turn up
into
at the
streams,
last
he
minute.
watches,
Yeah, I
he
watch
watches
the
the
pick
draft
man.
and then he leaves.
Honestly, that's exactly what.
It's like
That's the highlight
90% of
for
the
him.
games, this is over.
It's
I'll
fun
pick-
to predict what's gonna
What
happen.
what
and then
what,
when
what are
running
your
race.
predictions for this game? Who's taking it and how heavily? What are your percentages?
Okay, I'll go with NAR, I guess. I kind of like Sneaky Nicks as kind of. I don't want to call them a dark horse, but 'cause
They're underdogs,
They're
but-
expected to be top 4 overall.
Yeah.
But I think they have a chance to take this. I'm going to do 60-40 NAR.
Okay.
Wow, okay.
How about?
Well, I did
Cinder
70-30 yesterday and I was wrong, so I'm gonna do 80-20.
and- Wow.
That's very sure. I'm gonna go with Suns fan on this one. I think.
Okay.
I think it's a little
I'm
bit
confident.
closer.
I'll be right at some point, and then I can be like, yes, I told you so.
so no one's
with
willing to go out on a
confidence.
limb and say SNA are going to take this game.
No matter what.
No one's
I
going to
will.
say that.
I don't know about that.
I don't
NAR
think
was so good yesterday, and I was especially impressed by their drafting. I talked
Yeah.
a lot about that, but it's just really
Non-stop.
intelligent.
Even after the
the way they
broadcast, you
drafted.
talked about it for like 2 hours. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
awesome.
I actually wrote a sonnet about it.
We couldn't get away from the Cinder and rants.
We'll have that talk. We'll have that read on stream later on.
Shut up. All right, guys, let's go.
Awesome.
All right, let's get ourselves into the draft. It's game 1, our opening match, NAR versus the Sneaky Nicks Assassins, and we'll be helping ourselves in the draft in just a second. I'm Gods, joined by Basket. We've got an all-Australian cast to start off the Americas qualifiers.
I'm an honorary Australian, but yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I always call you Australian, but
Oh well.
in my mind you are.
I'm okay with that.
Basket from Australia, but not of Australia.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But yeah, when we talk about this game, pretty even.
Radiant
Definitely a big
team
game for
pick.
SNA. I'd say more so than the NA Reject, but NA Reject would
Dire
love to just
team
end. If
pick.
they end the group stage undefeated, that really makes a statement going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it definitely does. And well, nothing too surprising just yet as far as the draft is concerned. I actually made sure to go back and look over the last couple of
Dire
series that these
team
two
pick.
teams played against one another. So on the 10th, which was just a few days ago for the summit, we obviously had NAR take a 3-0 and a best of 5 up against Sneaky Nicks Assassins. The series before that was actually, I think, the day before, which was last Friday, and that was a best of 3, which SNA actually ended up taking out 2-1. And then they played a best of 1, I think, a few days prior to that as well. So they had something like, I think the
10
overall record is
seconds
something
remaining.
like 2-7 in favor of NAR after
Okay.
all of that.
5 seconds
But
remaining.
SNA did beat him in a best of 3. I think
Yes.
that's what you can take from that somewhat. That there was a best of 3 with SNA one, so they're definitely
Reserve
capable of
time.
beating them, including in like a standalone series. So we'll get into our draft here. NA Rejects. This is a hero which has been banned, especially when they've been playing in a lot of these matches. NA love their Wits. They'll first pick it right off the bat. They generally don't go for Wits Tiny as well. They're happy to just pair it with almost anything, whether it's to support Sand King, a Luna, just any random hero. So we'll see how SNA look to deal with this, and seems the answer is in the form of their first pick Disruptor.
Yep. It's a little bit interesting
Enchantress.
talking about these two teams because the
Radiant
overlap
team
between their
pick.
favorite hero pools is actually pretty big. They both run the Wisp. They both run quite a bit of Enchantress. Disruptor is actually a pretty big pick
Mirana.
for both teams.
Mirana.
Yeah, and the
Everyone loves
Mirana,
their
of
Mirana.
course.
Team
So
ban.
we were just talking about the Mirana before the game started, and we're going to be seeing a little bit more of it today. And the thing with the Wisp is, yes, he has all of these fantastic combos, particularly with the Tiny that you brought up, but he can turn any carry into a split pushing carry. It's just it's a style of play. It's not necessarily
10
that you always
seconds
need
remaining.
the combination.
The hero's known for his relocate,
Dire
but I
team
think it's
ban.
just he fits nicely as a support regardless. Being able to like burst heal and keep a teammate alive, even if it's just like a solo mid DK type hero. Overcharge makes him super tanky and invincible. Not to mention you can just do so much with it. So I think it's a fantastic hero regardless
10
of whether or
seconds
not you have that
remaining.
direct tether overcharge partner. So
Yeah, and while attack speed is great on Tiny,
5
it's great
seconds
on any other
remaining.
right clicker
Yep.
as well.
So I will see where the two teams look to go with this one. I think
Reserve
SNA's opening
time.
is very interesting. This is like two heroes which are not normally prioritized as first two picks. Enchantress every now and then, but this is really, I think, Fluff coming up with a draft that he thinks can beat NA Rejects in this best of one.
Radiant team
Yeah,
ban.
they actually have been picking quite a bit of the Disruptor and the Enchantress
Yeah.
from what I've seen. So not only is this something that they probably think is going to do well against North American Rejects, they're very comfortable heroes for them as well. So no big surprises to see the Enchantress here for
10
Fluff.
seconds remaining.
And Sneaky Nicks Assassins, both of these teams know each other so well. We are going to have a Dragon Knight
5
ban
seconds
out here
remaining.
Yep.
from SNA. And worth keeping in mind that for NAR, at least on this version,
Reserve
they have an
time.
undefeated Dragon Knight that's 7-0, so that's really impressive.
That Korok
From
DK, man.
Korok, yeah, that
Yeah.
Korok DK. And then they also have an undefeated Brewmaster between
Okay.
Brax and Korok, and that's 5-0. So a bunch of heroes to watch out for here. for the
Brewmaster against
rejects.
Disruptor's pretty
Yeah, not so
too
great.
fun.
Yeah, probably not going to happen this
I
game.
remember seeing a recent game, like it was like FY on it against, and Brewmaster would blink in, and he would try to go clap before ulti, and FY would just react instantly with the Static Storm. So
Yeah.
he'd get the clap off, but he never, not once, got Primal Split off. He needed to just be blinking ulti. And if you blink ulti without a clap, it's just your damage isn't as prominent because you don't have that clap with the damage output, and more
Dire
importantly,
team
the slow
ban.
that follows. So
Yeah, especially if you're the only setup
yeah,
for your team, then
Yeah.
you need that clap for everybody else to catch up to you after you've blinked in and really go to work. And obviously compensate for the ult animation
Dire
time
team
a
pick.
little bit as well.
Okay. Well, we see Morphling and Elder Titan in the next two bans here. Shadow Fiend insta-picked by Snar. They're playing over on that
Radiant
Dire
team
side
pick.
as well. So it's not the Radiant Shadow Fiend, but they still really want the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, I mean, they're not necessarily committed just yet as far as the Shadow Fiend heading towards mid or heading towards the safe lane. The Disruptor's probably not going to be roaming around too much. So if it does end up on the safe lane, he can hang around, maybe try and spot any ganks making its way up there, do a little bit of counter ganking as well. So don't mind the pickup. I don't feel that it's particularly
10 seconds remaining.
strong against anything that NAR are going for, but it does give SNA that little bit of
5
extra late
seconds
game assurance
remaining.
that you do want to have. We have seen some games, going 40-50 minutes in this qualifier.
Reserve
Well,
time.
we'll see what NA Rejects look to respond to. I think the big hero that, more so for Snar, is Clockwork still in the pool. Alex Mike has
Yes.
played a beastly Clockwork over the last couple of weeks. Has one of the highest win rates of like any player on the hero currently in the last couple of weeks. So we may see that come out as far as offlaners go for Snar. The other hero he plays quite a bit of is the Nyx Assassin, with his Darkseer, his Elder Titan both banned out as well. So, but for now, it's in NA Rejects camps. They've got the Mirana, the Wisp, Fog playing the Wisp, and I had to squint my eyes to try and read it, but it looks like Snake King is playing the Mirana. But yeah, we'll see what the next plan is.
Yeah, what do you make of this Elder Titan ban? We saw North American Rejects running the ET to great success yesterday, but I don't know if it's necessarily one of the
Dire
top
team pick.
I think especially on the
Snar.
Dire side, it's a pretty weak offlaner. I think Radiant side, you can easily fit most, like whoever you want in the offlane. Like you can put someone like an Elder Titan there. But I think on the Dire side, it's really hard to do Elder Titan offlane because it's so easy to zone out the Dire offlaner. So Elder Titan doesn't really have too much that works in his favor there. But they go for the Tidehunter instead. So there's your Alex Mike hero.
Yeah, nice to have. If he's over on the offlane, he can get a little bit of ancient stacking done. Pretty easy to clear out with the new Kraken Shell and Anchor Smash, so should be a bit of an option there if he even does get zoned out of the lane. Sneaky Nyx
10
Assassins,
seconds remaining.
the lineup it doesn't necessarily seem to me to have
5
one
seconds
coherent
remaining.
focus. There's a lot of team fight
Yeah.
in there, but you've also got that little bit of flavor from the early game ganking of the
Reserve time.
Enchantress, and we'll see. Maybe the last pick will really
Oh.
tie things
Team
together.
ban.
And we've got Synderen over here, arms in the air. He's having a bit of a cheer because we've got a Keeper of the Light pickup.
Yeah.
That's actually another undefeated hero for
Wow.
NAR
Yeah.
on this version. 1437, I think, has been playing it.
Yeah, you think we'll keep
quite a
seeing
bit.
the 4-position Keeper of the Light there?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to
10
continue seeing
seconds
that.
remaining.
It just
That's
fits what
right.
teams are more used to. Like I think just switching over to a suddenly solo made Keeper of the Light is just like a
5
radical
seconds
change that you
remaining.
need to practice a lot in scrims maybe before you pull it out in TI. Like this is the TI qualifiers. So for this
Reserve
team, this is
time.
their only chance to make it to the actual international four. So it's kind of a big time to be suddenly throwing a Keeper of the Light mid. But support 4-position Keeper of the Light, you can still get that 20-25 minute Aghanim Scepter. It's no different to like a support Visage, the support Ancient Apparition you sometimes see getting a decent amount of farm. So and even more so, you can stack neutrals. You can do a lot to get good farm on Keeper of the Light.
Yeah, Coddle plus Wisp isn't actually that unusual as far as support combos
Yeah.
are concerned. We've
10
seen it quite a
seconds
bit
remaining.
in the past, and if you give these two heroes the opportunity to just stack and farm their
Radiant team
jungle,
ban.
it basically makes up for having a full jungler or a jungler
Yeah.
and a half. They can just clear out and stack the entire jungle
Yeah.
every single. That's a whole lot of additional farm. Because of the Keeper of the Light pickup for NAR, I think we're probably expecting to see another probably mid to
10
late game
seconds
core hero
remaining.
coming out of them. They've got the Clockwork. So
5
not a
seconds
hero that
remaining.
scales particularly well as far as the late game is concerned, but they
Do
have the
they-
Keeper of the Light. They should be able to hold on to towers, and for that reason, I think they can.
Do they still
definitely have
consider
space.
Tiny? Like Tiny's still in the pool.
Uh,
Like I mean, sure, it's not normally their go-to to go with the Wisp, but Wisp Tiny is Wisp Tiny. Like
Yeah, could be an option. I think the thing is, against the Disruptor, you want whatever hero is going to be relocating in with the Wisp to be able to buy a relatively early BKB.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to relocate into the fight, and then if the Glimpse happens to go out on your carry, they need to immediately pop that BKB and stay in the fight. It's just too much of a risk to commit to a fight with a relocate, and then immediately have your carry get glimpsed away. And that's the one downside to me about taking Tiny in this draft, that if you relocate in the Tiny, you might get glimpsed because he's not really going to buy a BKB until his second or third item at the very earliest, and he just doesn't really like buying it in general. Would much rather, go for the Ags, AC, Manta, your typical kind of Tiny build.
Yeah. Yeah, BKB normally much later on in the draft. So Nature's Prophet last pick for SNA. What kind of lanes are we looking at here? Does Prophet go mid? Does Tide go mid? Is this going to be like what do you think they're going to be looking to lane this as? I mean, Shadow Fiend can safe lane it, or depending on the matchup there as well. Prophet could even safe lane farm if they want to get good farm on that. So
yeah, I don't even think that necessarily a farming Tidehunter is the worst thing in the world.
True.
Getting up some fast items on the hero, he can definitely carry a mech for your team, pick up that Blink Dagger, just start getting some 5-man going on. Could be one option. They farm a fast Blink. On the Tide, they just maybe go straight towards a BKB or something like that on the Shadow Fiend, and then just start to look to force fights. But I think the Nature's Prophet as well, it gives them a little bit of extra. So far we were talking about they have a little bit of push from the Enchantress. They had quite a bit of team fight with their other 3 heroes, but they didn't really have a whole lot of split pressure, a whole lot of split farming. So the Nature's Prophet helps with that, but I don't know if it necessarily ties the lineup together. And all North American Rejects finish things off with a PA, so not an uncommon Wisp partner, can buy a relatively early BKB.
yes.
So I think I don't think it's a bad hero at all in this scenario.
As much as people consider PA like a kind of hard carry because of the ultimate, I think PA is actually a good fighting early kind of carry. Stifling Dagger is just great little spammable nuke, and once you have like phased drums, you can go fight, and then you go straight into like a BKB. You don't even have to. I mean, there's so many ways you can build this hero to fight early.
Yeah, you pick up a couple of early game items, like you said, a drum can go for an Aquila as well, and you just go run at people and just kill off supports. Also, not bad if it does end up in a farming game. I'm not a huge fan of the Battle Fury Phantom Assassin, in all honesty, but there could be quite a few stacks set up by the Wisp and the Keeper of the Light, so it could maybe be an option if we want to see something a little bit more late game oriented. But I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen. I'm expecting to see the early to mid game sort of fighting build out of the PA. Every single time there's a relocate up, have the Clockwork off hunting or the Mirana off just scouting out with arrows, and then see where if you land something, you can just relocate in, get a guaranteed kill.
Well, it looks like it will be IX Mike on the Tide, which suggests more of like a standard offlane Tide here. So we'll see Liquid rolling out. NAR going for some 5-man down the bottom lane action, but they're just often, especially on the Radiant side, you want to try and protect your pool from being warded and just prevent the opponents from getting that early ward. So they're even tethering snaking. I think this is something important because often you see offliners like a Tide with boots rush down there to plant down a ward to get vision of what's going on there, and you get there. If you tether your way down there, you can probably get there as a Tide does, scout where he puts the ward, and protect your jungle really well. And NAR will get scouted by this Treant, but I like what they've done, just protecting their jungle from getting warded.
Yeah, both teams just going for the defensive play to set things off. Like you said, Sneaky Nyx Assassins just making a very common move when you have an Enchantress or a Chen on the dire side. They move over to this hill. They try and spot anybody making their way up into the jungle to try and ward up some camps. Even if you don't stop them, you at least have an idea of where the wards are.
Even scouting Roshan, just SF Prophet, you can easily level 1 Roshan with it. I mean, it would be a bit slow. You haven't got incredible damage output, but you could definitely do it over time. So just making sure they have all their bases covered. But we'll introduce our 2 teams here in the NA Rejects versus SNA opening match of today. Going to start off on the Radiant side. It's going to be NA Reject. We've got Brax playing the off-lane Clockwork. In the mid lane, we are going to see a dual lane with Fogged on with Snaking playing the Phantom Assassin. And then finally, safe lane farming away will be Korok on the Mirana, supported by 1437 playing the Keeper of the Light.
And meanwhile, over on the Sneaky Nyx Assassins, we have the man himself, SNA. Over on the Nature's Prophet, heading towards the safe lane. Fluff and Stuff is going to be on one of his signature heroes, the Enchantress. We've got Ush heading towards mid as the Shadow Fiend. Whitebeard, currently in the off lane, running this little bit of a dual lane. He's going to be on the Disruptor, and IX Mike will be handling the Tidehunter. So, from what I heard yesterday, Sneaky Nyx Assassins ran a dual lane. I think it was Nyx and Disruptor, and actually ended up cleaning up a defensive tri-lane. Yeah, so we'll see if they can. Well, it's only a dual lane this time around since the Wisp and PA are mid.
Not the strongest dual lane. Like Keeper plus Mirana, like, some definite like like decent last hitting or whatnot, but I think there's not much synergy between these two heroes. Like Keeper Light can spam and illuminate more or less, but I think Whitebeard and Ike's Mike have the slightly stronger trial lane, depending on how much they get hit by these illuminates, which so far is they've been off to a bad start.
Yeah, I think the biggest problem for SNA is ever being able to go aggressive. The Keeper of the Light, if he's targeting the Illuminates onto the creep wave, the equilibrium is always going to be pushing towards the Dire Tower, and that makes it really difficult for the Tidehunter and the Disruptor to try and go for anything here. So they might just end up securing some farm for the Tide.
Well, Fluff and Stuff just sends a creep early mid, so he's going to spam a few Hidoukens at Fogged as well as the PA in the mid lane, but yeah. Bit of casual harass there, and with the Wisp Tengu regen, they can even share the regen here, so they don't really get too bothered by
the
this.
Shadow Fiend is, okay, finally gets his first CS of the game, but he was 0-0 up to that
Dude,
point.
Snaking, better watch out. That's level 2 raises. Gets pretty low there, but we'll get Tengu'd back up, so... Yeah, nothing too crazy to start things off here, but yeah, in mid lane, I think we'll see Fluff probably just keep on sending creeps every now and then to try and help out as much as possible, but I think I'd rather see him like get a couple creeps and go for that early smoke, even if it's to gank someone like the Clockwork at top.
Yeah, the Clockwork is going to get pretty reasonable farm up against the Nature's Prophet here. It's not really a hero that he can kill, though Brax is actually going for the more offensive build. He's picked up 2 points in Battery Assault, as opposed to going to the Rocket Flare that we actually often see in this matchup. Just because it can be difficult to isolate the Nature's Prophet in your cogs if he's being good with his Treants.
Yeah. I think we actually likely see... I think Fluff will look at this and be like, what's the most likely place to get a kill and to be able to help? And I think I'll say bottom lane. I think he may pick up a double creep and smoke all the way, like, through the mid lane towards bottom lane, like going behind the tier 1 tower to get there. Because I think that's actually the easiest kills to get on the Keeper of the Light, and then you can kind of transition into that tier 1 tower push.
Yeah, and it's not even, doesn't even necessarily have to be the Keeper of the Light. Once you have 1 or 2 points up in Glimpse, the Mirana can be a pretty easy kill as well.
Okay. Well, as far as the lane stage goes, I mean, would you say either team has an advantage with the way they set these lanes, or are we looking at a pretty neutral setup?
I think NAR are getting just a little bit better out of it. The Clockwork's going to get some pretty good farms, so his mid-game impact is pretty much secure, I think, and he'll be instrumental, like we were talking about, in setting up some of these relocate ganks. I do worry a little bit for the Shadow Fiend, but he's such a good catch-up hero anyway, so long as SNA can make some space in the mid-game.
Yeah, Keeper Light's taking a lot of harass here. This arrow may just save 1437's life. Ike's Mike wants to keep on chasing Prophet, going to TP in as well, and this may be our first blood. 1437 trying to juke, not going to succeed, and Korok now, he's in trouble. I think they've got a glimpse. Oh, they don't have vision after that one, but Whitebeard, I'm not sure if he actually used the glyph or not, but we'll see Fluff and Stuff now. He's smoked up, going down towards the bottom lane. Like, this is the kind of smoke from your jungle between the towers all the way down bottom. He can swing back mid from behind, but I think more likely he can just look to keep on punishing this bottom lane. It's the easiest lane for him to have a high impact on.
Yeah, if he goes towards bot, he also has the opportunity to grab a second creep to replace this Hellbear that's just about to fade. So I think, the more likely choice overall.
Yeah, there you go. Picks up another Satyr, and this'll help him out. Give him a decent amount of killing power. Keeper of the Light should be an easy kill. They can even dive the tower for this with the double creeps help tank it up, and as you mentioned, Korok's also a viable kill because of the glimpse.
Yeah, I really like the way that SNA are exploiting the fact that there's a duo lane over mid by applying so much pressure to the safe lane for North American rejects.
Yeah, because SF's not farming well. They're going to find Korok here. They don't get off the Disruptor nuke, so they don't actually get vision to follow him with a glimpse. He didn't have mana, unfortunately, actually. Disruptor completely mana depleted. Meanwhile, mid lane, Ash almost in a bit of trouble here. TP in from the Prophet, but I think that was more just to kind of scare him back rather than actually getting kills there, because he had not even mana for a Sprout.
Yeah, and while the Nature's Prophet's been away, this Clockwork has just been having a field day up on the safe lane. He's actually almost the lead farmer on the map right now, so Brax, plenty of opportunities for him to leverage this early farm into hopefully a bunch of kills, and Clockwork can be pretty scary once he gets on a roll.
Yes. I think as it is, NAR, like, the bottom lane not going fantastic for him, but they're getting enough farm there, and they're winning the other two lanes. Like, SF has 7 CS right now. Prophet's TP'd around to help them win bottom lane, but Prophet's actually, like you say, behind the Clockwork on CS, and Clockwork when you hit level 6 is just going to have a really huge impact. He can TP bottom to and he's already done that. He's hit level 6, TP'd bottom, ready to start looking for some kills.
Yeah, and I think the other problem for...
He sees Fluff with the ward. This will be a freebie. Fluff can't do anything about this. Buy out as much as you can, but he's just going to go down, and nicely played by Brack. Good rotation from him.
Okay. Korok ends up picking up the kill, so a nice little bit of additional farm for him, given that he was pressured. And the one thing I do worry a little bit for SNA is that with the Prophet being so active early, during the mid-game he's going to want to sit back and try and grab some recovery farm for himself, get that Midas online. But the same can kind of be said for the Shadow Fiend with the start that he's had. So if we've got 2 cores for SNA looking to farm out during the mid game. I think that's where the that early to mid game pressure from North American Rejects could really catch them out, and they need to be really careful.
Bottom lane, they've gone in for initiation here. Korok going to be maybe the counter kill here. They killed the Disruptor, they lose Korok in the process here. 14:37 now spread up. He's trying to hit Mike with the Illuminate, not going to land it. TPM from Fog, not going to matter though, and I don't even think he can get IX Mike. He's going to need some amazing Wisp Ball extensions. That's not going to happen, and they get a 2-for-1 trade, and that's a Disruptor going down for the Mirana carry as well as the Keeper of the Light, so nicely played by the NA Rejects. Oh, sorry, by SNA, I mean.
Was that a remote double kill for Fluff? Like,
Wow, did Fluff get both those kills?
I think he did. So
Easy peasy.
Fluff the stuff, he's farming and he's getting a bunch of kills bottom lane with his Hellbear Smasher. That's some nice play from him there.
With CSF, he's rotated into the jungle. I was about to say earlier, the problem also with SNA's lineup is they haven't been able to, with the offensive dual lane with Enchantress in the jungle, they haven't been able to stack any like neutral camps to the Shadow Fiend, which is often where you see Shadow Fiend catching up. You get like a triple neutral stack and you just go and farm that and get a decent amount of farm. You can catch up, get your BKB at a reasonable time, but he has not had that luxury because of Fluff being in the jungle.
Yeah, and the other thing, as far as I think the mid game is concerned for SNA, it looks like the Prophet is going straight towards Midas. Right now he's already picked up his Gloves of Haste. A fairly common build these days has been to just go for your phase boots first and then make your way back for the Hand of Midas. And I'm a little bit surprised that SNA didn't end up doing that this game, especially because he's shown that he is more than willing to TP to every single gank, and that little bit of extra right-click power can definitely make the difference. It would be nice just to have that, that little bit of extra right-click, especially since I think Mike is going to be able to start moving around a little bit along with the Disruptor and the Enchantress.
Okay. Well, we'll get ourselves back underway here. We'll see Brax heading back to base. He'll probably heal up, TP dual lane, look for another hook shot gank. With X, it looks like bottom lane is just SNA's decided like they've won bottom lane enough. It's now going to get dangerous. Like Clockwork level 6 roaming around the map. This is where you can't really spend too much time in that dire off lane. Otherwise, you're just going to keep giving Clockwork kills. Not to mention rotations from the Wisp, the PA potentially. Although Wisp still not level 6 just yet, but halfway to it. So once that relocates up, it gets really dangerous. It seems SNA's plan now is to just take control of mid lane, top lane as well as their own jungle, and just get some catch-up farm. I mean, I say catch-up farm, I don't think they're actually behind here, but it feels like they need to get more farm before their lineup comes online.
Yeah, and especially mentioning how dangerous it is to be on the dire offlane right now. They're just about to lose this ward that they placed down earlier on, so that was a little bit of safety against the Clockwork rotations and being able to spot the Keeper of the Light illuminating you from the fog, but unless you can re-establish that ward and keep that control, bottom lane is a really dangerous place to be. You've got arrows, illuminates, and hook shots all potentially flying out of the fog.
Yeah. The one way to make it less dangerous is bring some friends, and it looks like maybe Fluff and Mike smoked up, heading down bottom. There's a Disruptor down there as well, so Prophet could theoretically TP in. I mean, Shadow Fiend has no interest in taking a fight really down towards the bottom lane. He's level 7, so he does have the maxed out raises, does have some decent damage output, but he's got Brown Boots and Wraith Band. This is a very poor SF right now.
Yeah,
holy moly.
Like you said, he's starting to catch up a little bit, but it's still a pretty sad life for the Shadow Fiend so far.
Yeah. Well, as far as any reject are concerned, they've got the Clockwork trying to roam around the map right now. What else do you feel like they need to do with this lineup of theirs?
I don't know if there's a whole lot else that they need to do. As far as Korok's game plan, he received a little bit of pressure in the early game, so he's probably just going to farm up, maybe grab his phase boots, maybe grab one other early game item, just start to look to pressure the bottom lane, fish for arrows, be ready for your locate ganks to come in. The Wisp is about to have that level 6, as you mentioned, so things are really about to open up as far as that's concerned. Snaking and Fog can start really participating on the map, and I don't think for North American Rejects the game plan changes too much from what they've already been doing. As you said, we've already seen Brax making his way around the map, already looking to set up some nice kills with the hook shot.
The actual team fight's not that
impressive.
Scary.
No.
Wisp, Keeper Light, not really team fight specials. Keeper Light once he has an Ag Scepter, I mean, Illuminate's good AoE damage, but they've got like Clockwork is basically all their crowd control. Like he can only really hook cogs maybe 1-2 people and try and zone some people out using the cogs, but beyond that, their team fight does not match up to a tied Disruptor. Even though Disruptor is not level 6 yet, but tied with Ravage online right now is a scary time for NAR to take any time of a team fight. So
yeah, the one problem for SNA is, again, I just don't know if they're in a farming position if they're in a position as far as their farm is concerned to start 5-manning at all or start grouping up to be able to avoid these relocate ganks. So
And you can't really
the
just
next little
5-man
bit.
push against Keeper Light. Like, you
Yeah,
can't,
it's not going to work.
yeah. You've got to at least be a bit more tactful about how you do that. I mean, you can go for a smoke, even if you just make sure you control the area behind, like, tier 1 towers. Like, if you're trying to push the bottom lane, make sure you have wards behind the tower, so Keeper Light can't just sit there spamming Illuminates. But with Tide Ravage online, I think they at least need to be farming while... Like, they need to aggressively farm. So have a few heroes trying to take team fights, get ganks, which is what they're doing now. They have the smoked up Tide Hunter and Enchantress. They'll SF farming mid. They have Prophet farming top. And I think those are the two right heroes to have farming, because SF needs to catch up. Prophet can always TP in and offer an ultimate. And then the Tide Enchantress can go ganking and fighting right now.
Yeah, and just to bring up one more thing, you mentioned the Keeper of the Light and the difficulty of pushing into the Coddle. And I think NAR actually the way that they played out their draft was really nice. So they ended up banning out those two offlaners. They got rid of the DS and the Elder Titan in the second round. Things got passed back then, I believe, to SNA, who ended up taking the Shadow Fiend. But then they took the Clockwork for themselves. We mentioned that it's a hero that SNA actually like to run, and it's one of IX Mike's best heroes overall, as far as win rate is concerned. And then they transitioned that straight into Keeper of the Light pick. So they took the one offlaner that could offer that easy pick-off power on the Keeper of the Light and enable the pushes away from SNA, and then they took the Coddles. So now it's much more difficult for SNA because they don't really have that pick-off hero to jump right behind the tower and look for the Coddle, at least until they get a Blink Dagger.
Oh, hookshot mid lane. They've caught out Ush. He's got... Oh, they're going to go for the Ravage here. That's actually going to just clip 2. Ush is turning and raising. He's still alive. He's almost going to get a second raise off. Doesn't do so before he goes down. Brax is going to be possibly the second kill. Gets Glimpse back as well. No way out for him. 2-for-1 trade. They get the SF but lose 2 of their core heroes in the process. It's a win for SNA, although unfortunately, once again, SF going down. Got a feel for this guy, but I think overall SNA will be pretty happy.
Yeah, I just don't think NAR were expecting all 5 of the Dire team to be sitting right behind the...
Tide was in the right
Fiend
place. And if he was just like a fraction closer, I think he would have actually saved the SF if he got that Ravage off sooner.
And SNA actually managed to get some pretty good damage down on the tower out of all of this as well. So ends up being a really nice little turnaround for them.
They actually pick up a fast medallion on Fluff, so they do open up the possibility to take a fast Roshan with Prophet on your side. Definitely something that's quite accessible for them. I don't think we'll be seeing any points in the SF passive just yet. It's kind of much too early for that. I guess maybe level 9 you'll get your first point. He's actually level 8 already after getting that 1 kill mid, so early Roshan possibly in the cards for the sneaky Nyx Assassins.
Yeah, and you mentioned the early Roshan, and as as LD is pointing out over on Observing, that there are 3 points up and untouchable on the Enchantress so far, so also nice against the right click from the Mirana and the Phantom Assassin, but also fantastic for taking out that early Roshan. They've got Gush and Treant as well, so a really good Roshan lineup for SNA, assuming that they can get down these tier 1 towers and make it difficult for NAR to contest.
I think the big thing is take out tier 1 tower. I mean, you don't have to take out all of them. Either like take out the top one and start pressuring the tier 2 to force NAR to bring 2-3 heroes top lane, and then you open up Roshan, or at least take out bottom and mid tier 1 tower, so there's no way for NAR to TP close proximity to the Roshan pit. So they need to at least get 1 to 2 of these tier 1s before they consider it, I would say. Like, if you've not pushing any tier 1 towers and there's 4 or 5 heroes missing on the map, it's almost too obvious and too easy to come and contest it. You've got to be pressuring those towers.
Yeah, the tier 1 towers are definitely a big objective for SNA.
Oh, they got the glimpse back. Oh no, this is it for Mirana bottom lane. It looks like Korok now on the run. He's got no leap right now. Getting hit by another Anchor Smash and brought down by the Prophet. Relocating coming out from the Wisp and the PA. They want IX Mike, but this is not an easy kill to get. Another Anchor Smash coming out, and with that, Snaking not going to get the kill. They're going to lose the Wisp as well. Misses 2 heroes dead. Possibly going to make it 3. Snaking's in trouble. There's no way out from him. He needs a Blink Strike, but there's nothing to blink to. He turns around looking for the kill on IX Mike, but he's not going to find it. He goes down to the Disruptor. 3 kills unanswered at bottom lane. The Nyx Assassins have somehow done it and taken a big clash here at bottom.
This counter ganking has just been absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
From SNA. They're going for these, they're going for these opportunities, but they've also got people ready to back them up at all times, and that's just really what's catching out the rejects. They're bringing in 2 or 3 to what ends up being a 4-hero engagement from SNA.
When you kill off 3 heroes, you don't need to push those tier 1 towers. They go into the Roshan pit, although this is actually going to be tougher than it looks. This is so early in the game. These heroes already respawn. There's a Clockwork hookshot. This is ballsy. They've got Tide Ravage, which is why they're probably saying we can still commit to this. If they come in, we just Tide Ravage them. Look at the damage, 1437 second in the pit. The Clockwork Hook, I think, completely off the mark. Hits no one, glimpse back, and they're going to get this kill from the high ground. No Keeper Light, insta buyback. The Nyx Assassins, they've still got Ravage. He's out of mana though. IX Mike, he gets it just back. He can't run into this Cogs. Just barely can get this Ravage off. Blink in from the PA. They've got to be careful. IX Mike still ready with the Ravage. Doesn't want to use it too early though. And it looks like Nyx Assassins realize they've got to back off. Ix Mike is low. The Rocket Flare not going to finish him off just yet. There was... Oh, they got the kill with the balls. Tide goes down and into the Roshan pick go. The NA reject. I think SNA just overcommitting into Roshan. We talked about, like, you get 3 kills, but those heroes all respawn so damn fast. And then NAR. They've got just this great long-range spam. Rocket Flares, Illuminates, and they just chip away at SNA without getting too close to be hit by the Ravage.
Yeah, and I think also pretty smart from NAR not to try and finish off the already low Roshan. There's just way too much of a chance that the Tide respawns, TP straight to the tier 1 mid, everybody gets ravaged in the pit,
They've
and
just got no
swing back the opposite
It's 10
way.
minutes in, they've got no damage. Like,
Yeah.
their best bet is PA, maybe trying to tank it up, and you've got Blur. You haven't really got much damage on a level 7 PA, but it would have taken them too long, and Tide wouldn't even need a buyback. I think you could just wait for the respawn and contest it. But
Yeah, what do you think about these treads on the Phantom Assassin? I think I almost would have preferred to see phase. I know a lot of people prefer the hit points, but you know, you're getting the move speed's nice with the tether. You've already got overcharge a little bit for attack speed, and you've got the attack speed from your blink strike. So I don't know. I think it just comes down to player preference.
yeah, but the more I think about it, I think it's just a player preference thing. I don't think one's clearly better than the other. That so much that you need to like be, oh, you should have gone this, but
Yeah.
Tier 1 bottom tower will get down to Nirons. They hit it. Oh, Korok gets hit by the glimpse. He's still going to leap, though. Static Storm going off. They've got some vision for this one. Maybe not enough here. Korok is going to go down. Just barely. Sprouted inside the Static Storm, and now they get the tower deny as well. So, oh, Ix Mike getting hookshot in the bottom river now. Mike's got a Ravage. Will he actually throw this one? There's a relocate in, and with that, he gets a 4-hero Ravage off, but the Illuminate will finish him off, and I don't know if there's any possible ability for a counter initiate from Nyx Assassin. They're just going to lose the Prophet as well. Buyback coming from the Tide, but that's no Ravage on him. NAR almost lose a clockwork. The Urn will finish him off, though. Ooh, just barely getting that kill.
This game is so ridiculously back and forth.
Yeah. Finally, I think this is actually Roshan. I don't think they're Clockwork's the key hero to have alive if you want to contest Roshan. Even if you don't have hookshot, I think just having Clockwork around for the rocket flare spam and just having a cogs in a team fight is crucial.
Yeah, I think this one's definitely going to SNA here. Ix Mike ends up tanking the arrow. I don't know if he was just trying to, okay, don't let the arrow last hit Roshan.
Yeah,
let's just
maybe.
tank that one, get in the way.
That's a legit Roshan at this stage is a much needed gold for the Nyx Assassin, so.
Yeah, ends up being a pretty classic trade as well. Dire get Roshan, Radiant take the tier 1 up on the safe lane. So ends up being a little bit of an overall trade, but I think does end up favoring SNA.
I think it was inevitable that SNA get Roshan. I think they actually rushed a bit that first attempt they shouldn't have been going for. They should have waited till they were in a safer position to do it. They just got a bit greedy because they got those 3 kills bottom lane and thought they were in an advantageous position because they had Ravage, but they just didn't get a chance to really use Ravage that well.
Well, the rejects would have been in a much better position had those 2 counter ganks mid and bot not ended up playing out the way that they did. I think that was a really big advantage for SNA.
Both times it was Ix Mike, like mid with the Ravage, and that bottom lane it was just being too damn tanky to actually kill off fast enough. So we'll see SNA once again getting ganked out the top lane. This time, oh, barely gets a TP off. He's really being put under a lot of pressure here, but hey, end of the day, they're not killing him. So he's TP's home, can keep on farming, and Prophet has very little downtime. Another tower deny mid lane, and perhaps may actually pay for this one with his life. Here come the Razors. One more will finish him off. So disrupting in the last hit. They lose disrupt in the process. TP going to catch 1437. He's now being blocked by some nice Treant micro here. Trying to get off one last Illuminate, but does barely any damage with it though.
And Keeper of the Light dead for 30 seconds. This might even be a pushing opportunity for SNA. The tier 1 tower mid is actually pretty low. We'll see it. No, okay, no. Not going to be able to group up for anything here. Just going to go and secure a little bit of extra farm. But they've still got the Aegis online. BKB is getting pretty close for the Shadow Fiend. So the mid-game 5-man is becoming more and more viable for the sneaky Nyx Assassins right now. And that's the one thing that North American Rejects, like we said, they don't really have any response to. Their team fight is a little bit underwhelming on the whole. They almost had to be playing on the front foot just to keep the split push and the ganking going, especially with this Phantom Assassin. But the PA's ganking just hasn't worked out. We've seen a couple of attempts, like you said, unlike we've seen over on the Nature's Prophet, but every single time he's just TP'd out to safety.
And it feels like they're trying to just be a bit aggressive for now before SF get BKB. Like, they're not trying to take team fights, 5-man push necessarily, but they want to at least get some pickoffs and kills every now and then, because once SF gets BKB, that's really where SNA cannot be fought, I feel. So for now, they want to keep on looking for a few of those kills when possible, whenever the Clockwork hook shot's up, but they know soon they're going to have to go into farm mode. Get Mirana and PA, just farm for the late game, even start farming up the jungle for the Keep It Light to get an Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, and Braxton 1437 just going to get in position to try and spam a little bit up on top lane. There is, of course, the relocate ready at any time. Things start to play out, but Korok, he's revealed himself mid. They know that he's not sitting up towards the top side of the map, so...
It's a hard lane to push against Keeper Light, because it's... I mean, you can theoretically go for the flank from behind, but that's just hard to get in position for. It's a very narrowed lane, this top lane, and it's just constant spam coming out from Illuminate, so...
Yeah, and while it looks like there are only 2 here for NAR, it would only be Korok TPing in after a hookshot and the relocate immediately going as well for everybody on NAR to be there within a few seconds. So SNA do need to be careful, especially given that they've shown IX Mike bottom lane.
And one Illuminate and Rocket
Mike
Flare.
arrowed bottom.
Oh, is this going to be enough? They've got the Wisp coming in with the PA, but they're not going to commit to this one. You're committing to a onto a Tide Ravage, so you blink in your PA, Ravage under the tower, and any hero TPing, and PA just straight up dies. Like, I mean, maybe you relocate him out, but I think it's just too risky.
Yeah, so I guess it looks like SNA just deciding, okay, we're gonna wait around for the Tide Blink Dagger before we try and make any further plays.
To catch the Keeper almost. I don't know. It's so tricky for them to actually push. At the same time, like, I feel like SNA's late game is actually pretty good. SF, Prophet, like, this is 2 good late game semi-carries and just carries in general.
Yeah, and 2 heroes that don't mind building MKB at all as far as their damage progression is
You got to go MKB against PA.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, that'll be. I imagine we see like a BKB, maybe not MKB after. I think he may get like a Manta or something first. He needs maybe some extra attack speed, but MKB is probably like his 3rd big item.
Yeah, there is quite a bit of AoE, so the Manta style could be a little bit underwhelming. But yeah, something in between before the MKB could be a really nice choice. Even if it's just like a casual Yasha, it gives him a little bit of extra farming
Casual
speed.
Yasha, Helm of the Dominator, whatever it may be. Yeah, I think I really like SF this game. I think the longer this game goes, SF is going to get scary. You combine that with the Tide Disruptor ultis, and the team fight for SNA is looking really good. There will be a BKB on the PA at some point fairly soon. I think he's maybe like 1k away from it, but beyond that, NAR do not have the best heroes to build BKB. Clockwork is building one actually, so... I believe this could be just possibly getting BKBs on your Mirana as well as Clockwork just to deal with the Disruptor and Tide, even though they're not really traditional BKB heroes.
It's an interesting way for NAR to try and compensate for the fact that they don't have the teamfight edge on SNA.
They've gone in on Mirana. No Ravage used by Ix Mike. He blinks after. He's going to go for the Ravage here now. And Korok will go down. He was hoping maybe to catch someone else with that hookshot into Ix Mike. Ix Mike may pay for this one. Is there a glimpse back? Yes, Brack's going back top lane. See you later. Ix Mike's still trapped under the tower in the cogs here and taking a lot of damage, trying to bottle up, won't be able to get out of there, so he does end up going down. Now the Keeper of the Light is going to be caught down with Keeper of the Light dead. This is once again your opening to push. And the tier 2 tower going to be the target for the Nyx Assassins.
Yeah, it's not just using their timing absolutely perfectly. They just picked up the Blink Dagger on the Tide. They went for an immediate smoke, found the kill, found the tower, found another pick, and now they're using that opportunity to keep on pushing. So they just really know how to take advantage of every little bit that they're getting out of the map right now.
Yeah, and also they also knew the Clockwork hookshots on cooldown. They still got 20 seconds of Keeper dead. This Keeper is actually pretty high level. He's level 11, which is actually, I mean, it's a good and a bad thing because he takes so long to respawn that it gives, when he's dead, SNA get a tier 2 mid and a tier 1 top and a ton of map control.
That's a huge swing in favor of the Nyx Assassins there.
There is an attempted trade going bottom lane, but look at the gold graph dip right down here. The tier 2 bottom tower push not going to succeed, and they're trying to get the pickups here. Snake King going to get sprouted, and okay, gets the Quelling Blade out. But say if he has to be relocated home, oh, he gets clips back. Where's that relocate? Is the tether even up? You need the tether up as well as a relocate. They're trying to, relocate, not going to come in time. Fog going to be the second to fall here if he's not careful, and I don't think there's any way out of this one. Nice little Deafening Blast coming out from 1437, and with Clockwork showing up as well, SNA decided not to overextend, and end of the day, a Whisk kill doesn't really matter. They got what they came for. That's the PA.
Yeah, I was about to say, why didn't they let the Disruptor TP second instead of the Shadow Fiend, but it ended up not mattering overall. That extra Tranquil Boot move speed from Whitebeard getting him in range.
Such a good hero, Disruptor. Man.
Really legit. Both of these teams actually pick it really heavily.
Yeah. And I think it's, I don't think it's that Disruptor's underpicked in other teams. I think it's just Disruptor works against the kind of heroes and the playstyle of these teams. Like you're picking Wisp, Disruptor's fantastic. And these teams going for this more split push heavy style, heroes like Mirana. Disruptor's fantastic against Mirana as well. So I think in other teams, Disruptor, it's not that so much that's underpicked, it's just like it fits in great with these teams.
Yeah, it works really well against a lot of what we've seen in the qualifiers so far, and a lot of what we've seen of the Americas style.
Oh, Brax is actually maybe in some trouble bottom lane, gets glimpsed back after trying to go out. He's going to just hookshot into Fluff here, but he's got no back. Oh, he's got backup. It comes in the form of the Wisp with the relocate, but he's maybe just going to feed himself as well. Wisp in trouble, trapped in the Sprout, and Wisp did not bring anyone in. That relocate was doing. Snaking. Oh my.
Oh.
Snaking. What happened?
So Tether somehow got broken. Snaking
Tether-
popped the BKB on nothing mid.
Well, we didn't.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it may have been Snaking's fault. It may have been the Wisps' fault. I'm not 100% sure on that one, but I'm gonna go on a limb and say it may have been Snaking's fault.
Maybe. I mean, you can't set the magic immune units, but he
Yes.
wouldn't have popped the BKB before the
imagine-
relocate.
Well, we think we may have to
I
watch the
mean,
replay.
yeah,
of that.
I think we'll need to
Maybe
check
Snaking
out what
popped the
happened there.
BKB before the tether came on him. But
Could be.
Radiant's bottom tower
Yeah.
has
Yeah.
fallen.
but hey, who knows? Maybe it was Fog's fault. Look, let's not go out and blame Snaking just yet. He's the
Yeah.
king. We'll watch the replay afterwards and decide who's to blame. But right now, what happened is there's a dead Wisp, not to mention the clockwork as well. And if Wisp and PA actually relocated in there with a BKB PA, that would have been possibly a turnaround. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
10-second BKB as well, so the PA could have really.
And he's
done
got
a lot
drums plus tread, so he actually does a lot of damage with those two items. So I think that would have been at least an even trade for NAR and probably a win for them.
there. Yeah, the only thing I'm not sure of about that relocate is, and with relocate in general, is when the tether refresh is applied. So when you cast relocate and when you're tethered to somebody, your tether duration gets reset, but I'm not sure if that's on cast, after a short delay, or after the relocate actually happened. So what could have happened is he started the relocate, the tether didn't get refreshed, and
Yeah,
for
the
a little
tether
bit,
tether expired during
yeah.
the relocate cast
wind
time.
up, and then that's
That's possible.
would have been really unfortunate.
And maybe he was thinking he could just like re-tether during that time or something, but I don't know. Look, I'm not on the Snaking hate train just yet. You either love him or you hate him.
Yeah, but SNA, things are looking really, really good for them. It is going to be the second item
Yeah.
MKB
What?
out of Ush. Nice. It's,
Alright.
I think it's perfect to have, especially because
He's
they
gonna
are
get
very magic damage heavy. We've got a long duration BKB over on the PA, so it just gives the opportunity for the Shadow Fiend to be the one big answer to deal with the PA in these fights.
He's going to get it eventually regardless, and like from here, I mean, I think you can transition pretty nicely into some kind of like satanic butterfly type build. Maybe just the helmet of dominated butterfly and
Arrow relocate
oh
bottom
wow,
lane.
goodbye SNA. No way out for him, and the TP's coming, not going to be there in time. Possibly
Under attack.
no glimpse, no disruptor TPing, and that's a Tidehunter TPing as well. So we'll see Fogged as well Snaking relocate back towards the mid lane and
Yeah,
be on their merry
no
way.
TP on Whitebeard. He's carrying around a smoke. He's carrying around ops. He's just picked up
Ooh.
a blink dagger. But
Blink on disruptor. This is kind of fancy. He needs to blink now. Blink good item.
yeah,
Not
Blink's
just
very
for
good
the-
item.
There's so many practical uses for that. We can see there, saves his life, and right now, Dire team have almost no vision on the map. It's actually kind of scary considering how far ahead they are. Fluff gonna get found by Snaking as well as Fog here, but he's got 4 points in the untouchable, and here's Mike blinking in. Here's a Ravage in a second here. May just want to throw this one. Snaking has a BKB, so probably want to save it here. Snaking BKB's in the stag storm. Gonna go for the TP out. MKB not gonna be enough to kill him off. You can't MKB proc and BKB, correct?
No.
So you can't
The-
actually stop TPs with
the bash
MKB.
type is the type of the stun is magical.
Yeah. Basher works, but MKB
For-
does not.
For both, in Dota 1 it's different between melee and range, between what the bash type is, but in Dota 2 it's the same for both the
Okay.
damage type and the damage type and the stun
You can
type.
see here the net worth. It's currently very heavily in SNA's favor. Being a bit of a tug of war back and forth here, and right now it's SNA leading by about 8k total net worth. So you can see the gold graph. It's slightly more even, but that does not really reflect all that gold loss. So it's net worth. Yeah.
So that's
That's the new net worth
that's
indicator.
the sum of your gold, the value of all of your
Yes.
items, and that's it. I think.
Yeah.
So
And it's constantly,
stats.
it shows constantly, moving up and down. So
hashtag production value.
yeah, hashtag protection value. Got to compete with grills somehow. Grills and kittens. We haven't got freaking
This is
grills
what-
and kittens.
This
God
is what
damn
we
it.
have. Oh, it's not. They're looking for him
We have
again,
evil
but
cats.
where's everybody else? I don't think they can do it with just two. He's got a 4-staff as
What?
well. This is really
Uh,
questionable.
Man, this 4-star pickup from the Prophet was so clever this game, I feel.
Yeah.
It's-
Nice. Anybody who gets arrowed if they happen to be facing in a good direction, you 4-staff them. Somebody's in the cogs. you
Ooh, Mike
4-staff
is ready.
them.
He's in position to maybe catch up the Wisp here, but problem is Snaking has a BKB. Glimpse back onto the Wisp. Static Storm waiting as well. They'll use the Static Storm just for a solo kill because they know NAR are not going to take this fight, but they're not even going to get the solo kill. Oh, Fogged. maybe still in some trouble here. Gush coming out as well as a Sprout onto the PA. PA can actually go in and fight. Fog's getting very low. He's still alive. It's the PA who's man-fighting this one. He's not even popped his BKB just yet. Tide going for the Ravage. He's going to get hit up, and SF Requiem Assault's not really doing all too much here. Blink, Ravage catches 3. Snaking still in trouble. He's got a BKB eventually, maybe. Gush going to get him very low. There's your BKB. They lose the Clockwork in the process. That late BKB, he tried to fight, and it was just... I'm not sure. I think you just got to leave the Wisp to die at some point. They put so much effort just to try and save the Wisp there, when it's just a Wisp.
Yeah, okay. Snaking gets dragged out of the fountain before he's completely healed up, so he's not going to be too impressed with
He's got life
there, but he's got life steal. He's going to be okay. I think the big thing is that NAR, they've been looking for kills with the Phantom Assassin and the Wisp, but they've been doing it by just walking around the map, walking up hills, walking into the jungle, and trying to find heroes. When we saw them move up the hill, over in the dire jungle, the Mirana and the Clockwork were just, well, at least the Mirana was all the way on the other side of the map. They couldn't participate in that fight, and you know, moving into the Nyx Assassin's territory like that with only 2 heroes is really dangerous. And then we almost saw the exact same thing top lane. You know, one was hiding in the trees, the Wisp was up a little bit further, but there wasn't really backup available. So as soon as they jumped on the the Keeper of the Light, and not the Keeper of the Light, the Nature's Prophet, and gave away where they were, it was really easy for SNA to chase them down, especially with this blinking disruptor.
Oh, they've got a hero at bottom lane. It's going to be Fogged in. Glimpse back once again. Static Storm with the MKB. 3 right clicks finish him off, and this disruptor is such a value pick. Whitebeard's played amazing this game. Like, you know, at this stage, he's the MVP for this team. He set up all the good team fights. I mean, Mike's done well as well, I'd say, on the Tidehunter, but Whitebeard has been the big playmaker. Yeah,
Whitebeard has just had a bunch of really nice glimpses. He's punished a whole bunch of really aggressive split pushing.
He's just de-warded the entire map as well with this gem pickup of his, so looking fantastic for SNA as far as map control. They're up 22 kills to 9. I mean, we all gave NAR the advantage here, and once again, Synderen will probably be proven the most wrong. So nothing's changed from day one. Synderen still wrong, and well, the rest of us still just a little bit less wrong.
A little bit less wrong. I still don't understand how you give odds for a best of 1. It's not like we can ever verify who is
Look,
right.
There's people who are more right and less right, or in most of the cases wrong and less wrong. But hookshot bottom lane, they catch at us, but he's got Aegis. He may just save the BKB here, and they've got to try and fight when he respawns. Us trying to just right click his way out. Almost brings down Brax with that. Oh my god. Brax is going to go for the TP out, and us should be just fine. Prophet, meanwhile, getting a kill top lane. They bring down the Mirana here. They could go for a push here. Us getting harassed fairly low. Looking for that glimpse is Whitebeard, but not going to find anything just yet. Illuminate, not very much damage coming out of that one. His ulti wore off just as he started channeling it, so no damage being dealt to the creep wave. But they kind of need to back off here. They've just lost the Aegis. Not really. They've got the BKB SF, but I just don't think they're quite in a good position to push into Illuminate once again. You can't just straight up push these side lanes when there's a Keeper Light behind the tower. Relocate top, though, is going to find the Prophet. Can he...
Just TPs.
Yeah.
There's no disable. There's no Clockwork around, and we were talking about these relocate ganks.
Wisp is about
being set up.
Well, that's a Wisp coming back in. Couple right clicks. Fog going to get low, but he's got mech still. This is hard to get this tower here. One more Illuminate could push him back, and Prophet's low. He's getting earned up. Shadowfiend also going to get brought very low by this Illuminate if it hits him, and nicely dodged by pretty much the entire SNA team. There, Blink Ravage onto 3 here. Fogged immediately blown up. Snaking gets hexed as well. That Prophet Hex coming into play here. The Brax initiation with the BKB. Not going to do too much buyback from the PA as well. This could be it for NA Rejects. They're just getting destroyed under the tier 2 bottom tower. They lose 4. They buy back the PA. Mike getting arrowed behind the tower, but he's tanky as all hell. And now the tier 2 going to be next to 4. There was a 2 support loss for SNA. They lose the Disruptor. They lose the Enchantress. Not sure where the gem ended up here. Did it pass hands? I imagine SNA still recover that one. Yep, it's on the Tidehunter. IX Mike saved that one, and IX Mike suddenly got enough gold for a Shiva's Guard. Like, this is going fantastic for the Nyx Assassins.
Yeah, they keep getting to use their teamfight power time after time. North American Rejects defending that tier 2 is actually really difficult. It's an awful choke point for the Radiant. You're moving up a hill into a really narrow area. Meanwhile, SNA are coming in at various angles. You can have people blinking in even from the fog, and that's basically what we saw there. 4 heroes immediately caught by the Ravage. The follow-up is always going to be there, and
with that, Mike played that. I mean, Mike wins them that fight. Because I honestly think it's actually not that easy to push bottom lane, because it's a narrow choke point which affects both teams. It gives Keeper Light a pretty easy place to stand to spam those Illuminates from afar, but if Mike doesn't get his blink broken by that or by something else, or if you don't know where Mike is, he catches multiple heroes with a Blink Ravage and you've lost the fight. Even if your PA can react and BKB it off, it's not like he can just turn and win you the fight in BKB. His damage is not that scary yet.
Yeah, the thing for SNA though is what are they really afraid of as far as the Radiant team is concerned? Like, yes, there can be a hook shot. Yes, you can jump a bunch of people, maybe on top of the Shadow Fiend or something like that. But for the most part, you're holding onto the tower. You're spamming, but you're not really threatening an initiation if you're NAR here. I don't think anything has changed. The teamfight advantage is still very firmly in the hands of Sneaky Nyx Assassins, and I don't think there's any one teamfight pickup or any one item pickup that necessarily shifts that balance.
I think the only thing SNA should be scared of is a team fight. Oh, they're going to get actually hooked out here. This is going to be possibly a dead SF. Gets the BKB, wreck him off. No! That's just the dying Requiem of Souls. Didn't actually get the cast off there. Snaking going to go for a TP out and will be successful. No Dark Troll to cancel that one. Brax now TP's out as well, so they get a pick off and they get the hell out of there. Keeper Light now has the Aghanim Scepter. So I think this is the one thing NAR can do, is try find pickoffs with the clock. And the other thing I was about to say, Sneaky Nyx Assassins are probably scared of taking a team fight when they're already like half HP from Keeper Light Illuminate. If they start the team fight healed up with all their spells, I don't see them losing a fight. But if Keeper Lights hit them with a 1 or 2 Illuminates and the fight starts, then maybe it's a little trickier.
Yeah, it's definitely a question for NAR of softening up SNA and then finding a pickoff immediately as they start off the fight. Especially if they can get the disruptor, say, low, even though he's going to be sitting all the way at the very back. If they can just find an opportunity for the Phantom Assassin and the Wisp to jump right on top of him, maybe even with the relocate, taking that extra control out of the team fight is a really big deal. You can't jump on the Tidehunter. That's just not really going to work out. So I think Whitebeard has to be the focus target for NAR if they're going to be winning team fights here.
Oh, now we're going to hit Mike as he TPs in top, but Kraken gets rid of that as soon as he gets illuminated. So I think for SNA, I don't think they're up by a huge... Looking at their top 2 net worth, at Shadow Fiend and Prophet, they're so far ahead of the Moran and P8. I think they can honestly just farm here. They're in no rush to end this game. Shadow Fiend can get another big item, 2 more big items. Like, I think Satanic plus Butterfly, and you win the game. Like, when SF has Satanic Butterfly, I just don't think there's anything NAR can do to win this game.
Yeah, nothing's really going to be stopping.
And at that point, Mirana and PA will still be a good 7 to 10k net worth behind him. So I think SNA will at least wait for the next Roshan and Aegis before they try and push again. But even with that, why rush? You've got Tide Disruptor can farm an Aghanim Scepter to deal with these BKBs in theory. Prophet can get an MKB and start being a late game carry.
Hype on the Tide, deal with the Illuminate, be ready to push up onto the high ground.
Yeah, they're looking fantastic. I mean, Tide may even just go Refresher here. Like, he's got Shiver's Guard, so he's got more than enough mana pool, so... I think the Pipe's nice, though, if you want to push, but your Refresher, if you're going ultra late game, maybe slightly better. And there's a completed Butterfly. I didn't even realize he must have had some of those components already on the Courier, so... Satanic B-Fly is actually really close.
Yeah, and I guess Korok here, he's got quite a bit of gold, but I think he pretty much just needs to go full glass cannon, needs to get that MKB up. Otherwise, I just don't know if they're going to be able to deal with the Shadow Fiend at all. So
without a BKB, he just dies so fast.
Yeah, that's
it's
the
like,
problem.
which way do you go? And so far, he's been split pushing more and coming into the fights late, which I think is the right way. I got late in a good way. So we'll see SNA get arrowed from across the river. Korok finding him at the Ancients there, but
that was just a blind arrow.
Yeah. It's a good kind of place to shoot an arrow, just to get some. It's more not so much going for a kill, but just to get information about what your opposing team is up to. So he saw a couple heroes there and knows that it's a little bit safe to be farming, or where it's not safe to be farming, I guess.
Yeah. The other thing about BKB for the Mirana is that if you pop the BKB on the Phantom Assassin, the Hex almost by default on the Nature's Prophet just gets passed over to the Mirana if she tries to get anywhere near the fight. So
it is
going to be the BKB. Okay.
Yep. MKB has been picked up by the Prophet though. Doesn't worry about buyback, and I think they still want to farm a Prophet buyback before they go for a push. But they're waiting Roshan, which is respawning in about 45 seconds. They'll have a Aegis. They'll have probably Aegis on Shadow Fiend with a Prophet buyback, and they'll be ready to win this game. And look at the net worth chains now. It is suddenly almost like a 20k net worth advantage going the way of the Nyx Assassins. That is just huge. It's been a constant red bar increasing, and well, it's not looking good for NAR in this best of 1. But for them, I mean, as far looking at the bigger picture, they're still undefeated until this point. This will be their first loss. They've beaten Liquid. I believe NAR have also beaten Revenge. So for NAR, they're still in good position to probably still get first place, and at worst case scenario, maybe second place in the qualifier.
Yeah, I like it just because it makes the top 4 that little bit more interesting. I mean, undefeated team's great. Korok, we get a glimpse from Whitebeard.
He's got the BKB. Pop it? Yeah. Alright. Whitebeard's like, huh? What's going on, guys?
Where is he?
Nope.
Oh well, they still got the BKB charge
Yeah.
out one way or the other.
The Static Storm, that's the other thing I love about Static Storm. It's just such a spammable ultimate. Like, using it for solo kills, it's an 80-second cooldown-ish, but you're perfectly fine using that whenever possible. Now Roshan's back up. Prophet actually TP's in. Korik needs to be a bit careful. He hasn't got his BKB. Anyone gets glimpsed back, he's done for. He's already used the lead. Oh,
He
no.
just got melted.
Whitebeard, the hero of this game, has been carrying hard.
Is under attack.
And now Roshan into, well, by the time you get
Dire's
Roshan,
bottom tower
Korok's
spotted.
basically respawned, but either way, you get the Roshan, you get the Aegis, and you can go from there.
Yeah, not having the BKB ready for the Mirana is so much more punishing than not having the Static Storm available for the Disruptor.
Yeah.
Like, you say, oh, Static Storm being down doesn't necessarily mean that Nyx Assassins can't take a fight. BKB being down for NAR means that
Yep.
they can just not look to engage there.
Static Storm being down means maybe you miss out on getting a kill, but BK being down means you're dead.
Yeah. I feel like for NAR, the execution's tightened up a little bit. They've been looking for more ganks with the Clockwork, farming with the Phantom Assassin, and then looking for relocates after they found that initial initiation, which they weren't really doing during the mid-game. The Phantom Assassin and the Wisp were roaming around and trying to do things by themselves. So I think, playstyle has tightened up a little bit, but they're just at such a huge deficit right now. The Keeper of the Light helps them hold on to the map control that they have, what they have left, and just keep split pushing things out. But, we're talking 1 or 2 team fights here for the Nyx Assassins
Yeah.
to take 2 lanes of racks.
Where did this game go so wrong for NAR, would you say? Like, it's not over yet, but like looking at where we stand, it's a terrible position to be in. Like, what is it, the draft more, or just some of the more playstyle, or how things panned out? Like, where would you say things start to go downhill?
I think it was just a little bit of that execution with those ganks that got turned around by the Nyx Assassins. They just weren't really expecting SNA to bring their entire force
Is under
to
attack.
every single 2 or 3 man kickoff that they went for. But that was exactly what the Nyx Assassins needed to do with their lineup. So
Yeah.
I guess maybe you can pin it on the draft a little bit. If NAR were going to win this game, they pretty much had to get ahead and then stay ahead, keep SNA afraid, but also keep them in a position where the item superiority for NAR could make up for the lack of
Radiant's
teamfight
bottom
presence.
tower
Well, the siege has begun. They get the tier 3 tower. Well, gets to get denied, but Nyx Assassins, at this point, they're so far ahead in gold. That does not matter in the slightest. Clockwork looking for a hook shot. Not going to find... Oh, goes on an IX Mikey with the BKB. Mike cannot ravage this one off. Static Storm going down on the backline, so that's a BKB Korok here, but they just can't kill anyone. The Shadow Fiend getting low, but he's got Aegis, not to mention the lifesteal from Hell and the Domain. Now Ravage going off, catches out Fogs at the back here. They've killed the Tidehunter. They're also almost going to bring the Shadow Fiend Aegis, but not quite, and they've lost PA in the process. Well, Prophet trying to just click... Oh, nice blink in for that gem. Got to get them jewels, and now Rax is going to go down. Shadow Fiend still with Aegis in his hands say, that's easy pickings for me, and they don't even care about the range tracks. They're just going to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, didn't invest the Aegis. The PA just didn't manage to do anything in that fight. We had a really nice ground sprout out of the Nature's Prophet to keep her pinned during the BKB, and I think even had the PA been able to get some right clicks off, she'd already been hit by the Requiem of Souls minus damage anyways. So there's just so many ways to deal with the right click from the PA, and just not really a teamfight hero as far as this game goes.
Alright, well, we'll see where we go from here as level 22 Shadow Fiend, holy moly. Picks up his Satanic. I mean, with the Aegis he's maxed out, but when the Aegis expires you can look to pick up something like a Daedalus, and you're just King Kong in these fights.
Yeah, they've still got another 3 minutes to have another, push at a lane of racks. With the Aegis in hand, nothing has changed. They've even got more farm for themselves after all of this is said.
So it's kind of smart, and I like that they went straight into that push bottom lanes, because if they and that's why they back off not going for the range racks. They say, look, save our Aegis, we maybe go for another set of racks as well, we still have Aegis. So kind of just rushing that first, not even rushing, but just making that first push happen right away rather than like waiting to like 2 minutes left on the Aegis works out really well for SNA.
Yeah, they're probably just going to end up they'll probably just end up grabbing this tier 2 maybe for free. I don't know how NAR are feeling about. I guess they have to try and fight from the high ground. They have to keep the eliminate spam going. No, they
They've
just
gone
went
in.
straight in.
Hook on the Arch. I don't know about this one. Glimpse back is not going to matter against the BKB. BKB snaking out in the front lane. They want Arch, but he's got the Aegis. The one hero they're focusing is the one hero who you cannot kill. Ty doesn't have Ravage, which is why they want to fight. They're going to lose the Clockworks out the fight. Prophet getting low as well. He pops the cheese, heals himself back up. Now Fog is getting low. 1 or 2 more right clicks will finish him off, but he does get off the Ghost Scepter, but that's only going to be his doom as he gets hit by the raise. Now the Static Storm goes out on Korok. He does force out the BKB. Sprout onto Brax in the backlines here. There's a glimpse back, I believe. Not going to catch anyone here. Brax now in some trouble. Couple more right clicks. Could finish him off. Arrow to Fluff. Fluff is low. The untouchable not going to be enough to save his life there. Illuminate would have come through as well to finish him off, but NAR going to get the tier 2 tower. Probably going to TP home and heal up before he can come back in, and I think SNA may continue this push.
They didn't even get the Aegis. It's still up. It's a 10x off cooldown. Ush is just an
What are they...
unstoppable killing machine.
Like that initiation onto a Shadow Fiend. They threw both Clockwork and PA with their BKBs at the Shadow Fiend. I mean, it forced SNA to send their other heroes into the fight, who ended up being the ones who died or almost died. Like they almost lost Prophet. They did lose the Enchantress, but they used so much just to like get Shadow Fiend to half HP just to heal himself back up with the Satanic.
Yeah, and there was no relocate used in that fight either. It's not even like the Phantom Assassin is trying to break into the backlines and hunt for the squishier heroes like the Disruptor. They're just going headlong into the, like you said, the one hero that you just can't kill, the one hero that you shouldn't really be focusing in these team fights, and I think that's just a little bit of poor execution from the reject.
Yeah. Oh, looking for a hook shot. Oh, Brax, is he gonna go for it? Brax,
Kill them both.
PKP and right click. The hook shot comes in, but that's just to save his own life. Oh, Braxy. That is not what you had ordered today for dinner, and he gets a surprise there. 30 seconds left on the H. They want to keep on pushing. Fog does have a tether, but no one to tether to right now. He's going to go down. Pierre gets a kill in the mid lane. That's your Enchantress, but yeah, no big deal. Keeper Life forced to buy back, and here comes the high ground push. Age is about to expire. That's the one thing SNA need to be careful of. Tide goes in, blinking forward, does have a Ravage glimpse back on the Mirana, but they don't care about the Mirana. They just want to get this tier 3 tower, and it looks like they'll do so with it. 5 seconds on Aegis. They want to get this melee Rex fast and get out of there. I'm not sure if NAR will know this exact Aegis timing, but they're going to get the melee Rex. Blink Ravage coming in from Mike, just under snaking here. Run or 2 right clicks from Arrow goes and hits the SF, but not going to matter. This is going to be top laner Raptors and possibly GG now. It is. Snaking calls it.
Sneaky Nyx Assassins, they take it.
Back in business. Well, they
That's
lost.
a huge win for them.
Yes, because they were on 2 losses, I believe. They lost to
4 and 2.
Liquid and they lost to Liquid and Revenge. So if they go down to 4 and 3, suddenly they've got to win the rest of their matches just to keep their playoff hopes alive, which is doable. But this just gives them some much-needed breathing room and also just confidence. They're gonna be like, look, we're actual contender to win this qualifier now. So.
Yeah, and especially taking out what is looking like the strongest team in the whole qualifier means that you're much more secure in terms of what we were talking about before. If you take that one win, and now to knock SNA out, you kind of have to beat, again, all the teams that they've beaten, which now includes NAR, which is going to be a tough ask.
Yeah. What do you guys think of the game?
What did you think of the PA? Okay, so this is what my thoughts on the game.
I want to rewatch that replay and see what happened with that.
I was thinking they might go CK because it has a stun, something like that, but
CK's awful. CK's
illusions
bad
would
here.
be awful against all the team fight potential.
Where's the tiny?
But the real problem, I thought, the
BKB
telling
problem.
tale of the game was how
man.
many times did EO and PA miss a kill on Nature's Prophet as he TP's out? No stun whatsoever.
No stun on the tether anymore.
Right. I mean, the blink in is a nice, I guess it synergizes well with the tether, but
Yeah.
That's where
Nature's Prophet got away at least 3
it's a with Tiny ganking, you get those kills. Sure, you do have the BKB problem, but eventually Tiny gets a BKB. You farm and split push until you get the Ags, AC, BKB, and then you can team fight. You still have to worry about that. I mean, I think end of the day, Whitebeard just went ham on that Disruptor. He got so many kills.
I know. I'm starting to believe that I can decide the outcome of this qualifier. Like, I just call a team, and then the other team wins, and it doesn't matter. Like, NAR played amazingly yesterday.
Yes.
SNA didn't impress me yesterday, to be honest. And then today we get it all flipped around. This was, to me, by far NAR's worst performance in the tournament so far. They played against Liquid yesterday, which I would still say is a stronger team than SNA is. But yesterday their drafting was very, very good. The way they organized themselves in the game was very good too. And I don't think they got outpicked in this game either. I actually think their draft made a lot of sense, but they just had quite a few misplays around the map. SNA played way better than yesterday, I also feel. So when you combine those two things, I mean, if one team plays worse than they did yesterday, the other team plays better, then you kind of get into that.
I agree, it wasn't like a straight up drafting loss. I think Tiny maybe would have been a bit better than PA, but I think the PA was just a different style of play, which probably is what NAR prefer, like that.
Yeah.
As a hero,
I think we were waiting for the BKB to come up on PA. And he got it kind of late, and then we got 2 MKBs in the opposing team.
I think the one other thing is, let's say that if that BKB relocate bottom lane actually worked, maybe we see a completely different game from there on out. Like, that was the timing. The first BKB use and that was meant to catch SNA by surprise and
That's
just
the fail of the game right there.
Yeah,
Yeah. That
One,
was-
I don't know who it was exactly, but probably snaking.
and at the same time, like
Probably
you, like you said, at the same time, they keep trying to relocate gank the Prophet, who's like the only guy on the map they can't kill. So why they keep trying that is basically they waste the relocate. Sure, you force him to TP back, he just TPs out again. Like, it's a waste of a long and important cooldown every time. It's time they don't spend farming or putting pressure elsewhere.
What should be clockwork? They need to like have clockwork with them or
Just
something.
Clock and IO together have
Yeah.
so excellent synergy. Clock finds someone, you just port in with relocate and you have a gank. Even if there's reinforcements from the enemy team, as long as they don't have like 3 heroes next to him, if they need to start TPing in heroes, the delay, you'll already kill the first guy who comes in, then the TP comes in, then he's alone, you kill him too. It's like a snowball effect. So if Clock and IO find the targets together, it's super easy to execute this. And I just feel like they were playing 2 different games almost, those two. So, I don't know.
I thought Ix Mike and Whitebeard played amazing.
Yeah,
And
Whitebeard was really,
nobody
really good.
mentioned at the beginning of the game, he set the tone with the
Yeah.
really early ganks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like their
Well-
entire strategy came together basically for SNA, so.
Yes.
But at the same time, yeah, as I said, I feel like NAR made them do too much. They let them do too much. And to me, the PA pick was all right, to be honest.
They shut down
just
SF mid
didn't
pretty well.
execute.
Like,
the
SF
mid
was-
lane, the laning was great
Yeah.
for them, to be honest.
I would say
SF had, like,
all 3
0
lanes were
CS
good.
at
He
3 or
was
4 minutes. He
completely
was,
crushed.
he was struggling.
He
NAR
didn't even
was-
get a Midas.
No.
Like, and
No,
he was
right.
still insane that
That's
game. so.
SF, right? Raise 2G.
Catch up. But NAR was farming in all 3 lanes. Like Morana was getting enough farm bottom lane. They had mid going fantastic. The off lane Clockwork was out farming the Prophet.
Yeah. it was-
Like you look at a lane stage where you're out farming in 2 of the lanes and even on a 3rd lane. I guess the 3rd bottom lane was slightly behind, but you'd say 9 times out of 10 you win that game, but didn't happen.
That's definitely. I think the Disruptor pick was the most important pick in the game.
Well, that's why you first picked it, I guess.
Yeah,
That's why I
but
took
it's
it.
like it's not generally a first pick. They picked it.
No.
I think they might have picked it so early because of the IO. The IO was the first pick. So
And they also, I think they
It's good
knew
against that,
Morana
and-
was coming too.
Yeah,
They're like,
exactly.
we'll leave you Morana because we can crush the Morana.
Oh yeah, that's a good point actually. Now that you bring it up, because when I make predictions, Mirano has a 74% win rate, loses the game. NAR who has 6-1 with IO lose the game.
Yeah.
Like whatever.
Nothing.
Okay.
Alright, so from now on,
okay, so
whatever
who do you guys
predict,
want
I'm
to
doing
win the
the opposite.
qualifier? Who do you want to win the
Who do you want
qualifier?
to win?
Yeah, because I can make them win.
Sin can make the
I
opposite
just say
prediction.
the other player,
he says the
the other
opposite
team wins,
prediction.
and then
And then
It's our combined effort. Like every time we all predict the hero as well, we just get it completely wrong. Like we need to stop making group predictions.
that's true. We need someone to.
If one person had said Snap, maybe NAR would have won that game.
The thing is, now I'm gonna be the one who predicts
Alright,
the rest
so
than you others do,
let's
and then I'm
say-
gonna be wrong.
Let's put this to the test and just say that Union's going to lose the rest of their games,
Yeah.
because then they'll win.
No, you can't say that Sindas to.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, what
Make some
have I got
Yeah.
to lose at this point? Like,
All right.
I'm wrong every time.
Yeah.
At least we're not betting anything.
do we have some standings, guys? We can maybe look at where we stand and see what some of the other matches probably rounded up, and we can hopefully check what's going on there. Liquid 5-1. They won their opening match today, so they picked up where they left off yesterday. Although that was losing, so maybe that's not right. But they picked up where they spent most of yesterday, not where they left off.
Was that a close game, or do you know?
They beat Banner.
Beat-
I was-
3-9 and like 26.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
26-minute
So-
win. Okay.
What about
Quick win.
Top 5 haven't played yet. They're still 4-1. NA Rejects get their first loss. Union, did they get a win? Were they 3-2 at the end of yesterday? Union may have won a game.
There were teams playing 6 games yesterday?
Yeah, they beat Isurus.
Wow.
So Union beat Isurus, nice. Some teams played 4 yesterday, some played 5, some played 6. It's kind of
Okay.
Have
mix
Union
and
played
match.
any of the top 4 yet?
They maybe one or two. Maybe one of their losses was against someone top 4.
Wait, so what's the
I
score
think
for
Union
Revenge
lost.
now?
Union lost to. I don't know.
Prob-
Revenge. Revenge is 2-2 apparently. Well, look at the lower bracket here. Revenge playing right now. Okay, so they're playing their 5th match right now. That's on some of the other streams. You guys are welcome to check out plenty of our other streams going. We've got 4 streams from the house here. We've got BTS2. I believe Zayuri was casting with Mylooney. I think LD is going to be going up there soon. And then we've also got BTS3, which is over in the lounge. AC, Fear, and some others are hanging out there. And then High Ground are casting as well from the house. So all of those streams, twitch.tv/team/TI4NA or www.beyondthesummit.tv is probably an easy link to remember.
Or TI4Qualifiers.com.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's
All the streams there.
new
Yeah.
page we got up yesterday. That's
Yeah.
actually really good. Great overview, easy to keep
Yeah.
track of the storylines and
Yeah.
find all the streams from both
Yes.
hubs there. It's a really good page, so it's the easiest one to redirect to instead of Twitch// It's just
Yes.
TI4Qualifiers.com. Pretty easy
Yeah.
to remember. Write it down if you forget.
So where do we
think
go
you-
from here? We got to change places. You guys are.
You
I
guys
think
are
so.
casting.
I think we're
Are
doing,
we?
what is it? Isurus, Liquid Isurus.
Awesome.
Okay,
Actually,
Liquid
you guys are in like the lounge or something probably.
nice. AKA we're not
Get
working.
out of here.
The lounge
We
is
get to- we get to
lounge is
chill
like
out.
you're not really working, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next
Drink
2
some-
games coming up will be Sunsven and myself casting that.
Cool.
Which will be, yeah, on this stream, of course, we've got all the other streams running.
Liquid Isurus, then NAR Ehug.
Exactly.
So we get to see
So-
Jigglebilly one more time at least. So
Nice.
That's good.
Okay.
I'm happy about that.
Want the Pudge.
If he doesn't pick Pudge, I'm gonna have to text him some mean
Alright,
things.
so what I'm going to say is he will not pick Pudge.
Okay.
So,
Good.
Swansea.
And he will not be using our set, even though I know he will. Okay.
Alright, now you're stretching it.
It's true. So I guess we'll be back. What time is it right now?
How long do we
Anybody
have?
have a watch? Do people wear watches
Production
anymore?
value, we don't have a clock.
So 10 minutes. Yeah, 9 minutes or so until
Oh,
the
okay.
next.
So
next
yeah,
round of
pretty
matches.
quickly we'll be right back with Isurus
Yeah.
versus Team Liquid. So enjoy.